Welcome to the very first ever Talk Fable To Me podcast. Woo! Almost got the name wrong. It's so
That's
new.
Okay.
We need a yay.
Yay! The official yay.
These people are new here. They don't know what yay is yet.
We're gonna tell them. We're gonna tell them all about it. But really, we're gonna take just a moment to introduce the brand for those who do not know about Fable, and then we're going to talk about who we are and what we do.
And now a moment from our sponsors.
Yes, Fable Beard Co. and Fable Beauty. Fable Beard Co. is our men's grooming company that we started 7 years ago, geared towards storytelling, and obviously Fable's art-driven, and Fable Beauty has only been about a year old, but a female cosmetics brand, and I'm sure we will talk a lot more about that later on.
Yes.
But within the company, everyone is a character, and I am founder, the princess with Fable and Fable Beauty, and
I'm the wizard.
He's the wizard.
He's the wizard. He's the co-founder and my husband.
Yes.
And then several years after the brand started, we were graced with the presence of
Joey. The Crusader.
The Crusader.
Beard oil.
I'm saying
You're speaking into it like you're working at McDonald's. Order number 3, please.
Yes, your order is ready. Please pull up to the first window. No, to the Crusader.
The Crusader. He didn't start as the Crusader. He started as Joey, but he quickly became the Crusader. And very, very rapidly
Because Paladin was taken.
Yes, yeah. Very rapidly upon Joey entering our world, he was like, no, you got to meet Crystal. That's who you really want to work here. And I think within like literally the first day, he was like, she wants to come work here. And I was like, how does she know? She doesn't even know what work it is
How's
yet.
it save me from my job?
It still really like flabbergasts me how the whole thing like came about, because like when you think about like companies and just like the world at scale, like a lot of people just like routinely just like hate their jobs, right? Like in the world. Yeah. But like you guys, Joey started out as a consumer of the products, and then like
2 years, like 3 years prior to us moving here.
I know, which is wild in and of itself that, you know, you end up working for a company that you just like the products with anyways. And then Joey was like, I want my girlfriend to work here. And we're like, okay, I guess, whatever. So, it works for the princess and I. Let's see if it works for you two also. Because that's like a whole nother thing we could talk about forever. But
it is. So for Joey and Crystal, the Valkyrie and the Crusader, they were not married at the time that they started with Fable. They are married now.
Yay!
So yes, at the time they weren't officially married yet. Although he was very, very clear with me that he was going to marry her. That was also one of the first things.
It was like Joey was like, "Hi, I'm Joey. This is the princess. Hi, princess. By the way, I'm going to marry Crystal."
He did. He said that pretty much. He's like, "I want my girlfriend to come work here. She's going to be my wife in just a couple months, but I want my girlfriend to come work here. Her name's Crystal." And I was like, "Okay, all right." And I think it was like 1 week later that she came to work.
Yeah,
for
his
us,
tism was shining a little hard.
No, it was great. It was wonderful. We're
Yes.
so glad to have them. So we want to talk a little bit today just about chit-chatting, but really just about like what it's like to work with your spouse and the challenges, the wonderment of it, the amenities that you have, but then there's also, there's some difficulties. So what do you feel like's been the best thing about working together?
The best thing.
I can see her every day.
Please keep it PG.
Yeah.
No, the uncle. No. Uncle Table. No.
Max.
Yeah, I know. The best thing for me is I enjoy being with Joey. I like being around him. You know.
I know it's weird.
I know, weird thing, right? Enjoy being with your spouse.
She gets a tax deduction.
But no, he's my best friend, so it's like I get to hang out with my best friend all the time. And not only that, it's not like some like crazy corporate work environment either where you're like forced to, be a certain way. We can be ourselves,
right,
and still talk and like hang out, do creative things because we're both such creative people. So it's like the perfect work environment to hang out
Talk about how much of a shift that was for you, just like mentally going from an environment where you I say have to follow rules. Like there's obviously like unspoken rules, but like the way that we think about business is like everybody's an adult. You should know how to act already. So
it's
like
true.
We don't need to like force you guys to like fit into like a box, right? When it comes to working.
I will also say before
I don't know what happened to us.
you get into this, for those who do not know, Crystal is in charge. She is, so she came from not being there at all to quickly being in
boss.
charge of everyone. And we just recognized her leadership skills very quickly. And we needed help because it is a lot of work. And we didn't have the right people.
Well, we knew immediately that people with tiny feet automatically are just really good at managing others.
Petite
So like
feet.
we're like, okay.
Yeah,
Petite feet.
But no, seriously, like what was that like
Thank
for
you.
you? Just like, did it take a while for you to become like comfortable really being yourself, or was it like an instant thing that you could just like roll into?
No, I'm going to be honest. I think our team in general is like so magical that when I first even came, it was like I felt like I had these friends my whole life already.
Right.
She gained a bunch of brothers.
I really did.
Well,
It's-
and really we started with
Sisters, sorry.
so much smaller of a team. It's crazy how in not very long we've added a lot of people, but that was what was also really helpful is the team was small, so the people that you came in to meet and then quickly rose to, like I said, leadership, but now everyone that comes in just knows that that's who you are, and so they're aware of that. But
yeah, especially coming from like what you were saying, like a corporate kind of retail environment. It can be very draining. It can be very, very draining to work in like a corporate retail environment, especially like I work specifically in like cosmetic jobs and stuff. So that's the part that I liked about it, because I love that stuff. Obviously, that's why I'm here. But yeah, the whole having to, fit into a very particular box when there are so many different kinds of personalities and different ways that people learn and different things that people need to do to understand their job. And a lot of times like corporate retail won't do that. They don't
Right.
really care about the different ways people need to learn.
They don't recognize
Yeah, but
it.
they
Yeah.
try to show that they care.
Yeah, but it's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, and I think it's
Snaps for Crystal.
I mean, one thing I will say, we did start so small. We started just us, and so it was just a husband and wife team. There was 2 people, and the good thing about it is that he has always been aware that I'm in charge, and so he didn't argue with me when for the most he does. But
life works better when the princess is on the top.
and so we just knew that dynamic. And then when you bring other people on and other personalities, we got really lucky with a lot of our early hires, and that they did tend to be more efficient and responsible. In most cases, they tended to be more efficient and responsible. So we didn't have to like oversee every little detail, which is not what we want in life in general. Like we do not want to do that.
Yeah, when we decided that we needed to like start hiring employees, it wasn't like immediately when we started, like she said, it was just us. So it wasn't like one of those things where like we needed people right away, so we weren't actively trying to hire. But it was like super important to me because the whole reason I really like left being a nurse before was because I hated the culture. And I hated the fact that I just knew that nobody really cared.
Yeah.
Like actually
at the end of the day, they don't really
They just
take
like
it home
we're
with
like,
them.
okay,
They don't care.
Colin's gone, great, thanks for 3 years, whatever. Like they really just don't care.
Right.
So that was super important to me, just like to be an employer. Like I want people to truly feel like they are part of the brand. And I don't know, I feel like it's easy for us for that,
Yeah. Well, and I think we quickly know now, bringing on new team members, and I think this is where you do shine, is just like knowing who's vested and who's not, knowing who's there for a pay, and genuinely, that's why we're all there, right? Like we all need to make money. That's how we live. That's how we eat. Yay for eating.
We love
still
it.
get to do it for
PBJ.
another day.
PBJ Thursday.
Yeah, that's right.
Yay for
PBJ
capitalism.
Yeah. But I mean, it's we know that that's obviously like why everyone's in there, but we want people who genuinely care, and it shows in it reflects in their work and the things they do, and whether they want to be a part of the bigger story. And we're so small of a brand still, but we are growing, but we want everyone to grow with us. And but what we recognize, some people just don't want to. They just don't want to grow. They don't want to improve, and that's okay. That they can be great where they're at. But
100%.
For the people who do, we really want them to grow with us. And so I think that's what's really fun about having you be able to work together is like, in my opinion, it really fits so much better with even though this doesn't totally exist, like work-life balance doesn't totally exist, but it fits so much better with like you being able to be together, in that you you can schedule time where you're like, we know we can go do this on this date.
Oh my gosh, it's life changing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just like a simple thing, right? Like we just don't work weekends.
Yeah.
Right. Or
And,
like I work
huge.
nights, you work days, we can have dinner together. Like little things you don't
Yeah, I mean, I
even-
remember back when I was a nurse, like I had to do night shift for like 2 weeks, and I had to take the job because that was the only thing available, and I'd never worked nights before. So like she would drive up at like 2 a.m. just to like so we could eat lunch or dinner, whatever it was, like,
For like
together.
a little moment in time.
And,
Yeah.
I got out of that real quick, but
Yeah.
it was rough.
just not okay. But like you don't even
Yeah.
really think about what that can do to change your world.
Oh my gosh, yeah. When we first moved here, I was working at the unnamed place, and I was working such long hours because the store was a mess, and I would work so late.
To say it was a mess was an understatement.
Yeah.
That place was, pardon my French, a shit show.
Yes.
It really was.
It was wild. And so I was kind of put there to like put a Band-Aid on things essentially. And I was realizing so quick within the
gunshot
first
wound.
month of being there that I was going to have no time ever again to ever like see Joey, do things on weekends, nothing ever. My time was going to be taken up all the time. So I was very, very sad. And then of course, Joey got hired
He
with you
wasted
guys.
no time.
And I was like, save me.
He's like, this is my
will say
girlfriend.
this. I always joke because for the listeners here, both the Wizard and the Crusader are ADHD. Right?
Oh yeah,
They
it's
are.
wild.
And so what I really
You'll be able to see it in this podcast.
what
Yeah.
I really appreciate is
ADD.
I have been married to it for a while now, and so I am very accustomed with how it works. And so when meeting, but one thing about it, it's like a superpower. It's like it's definitely a skill.
It is.
that
It
you
is a
have-
superpower.
Yeah, it's a superpower.
It is.
But one thing about it, and this is how the Wizard operates, is that he's extremely like, I'm gonna do this now. It's like now or never. Like
It
if
is.
you mention something, it's like this is happening today,
Right this 2nd, or it
I
will
think
never
that's
happen.
why though business has worked so well for me personally, is because I have now, I'll call it controlled freedom because it's what she gives me, right? And I live by those rules. But, but on
that's
like
balance.
a creative front,
Yep.
just being able to share my ideas freely.
Well, he doesn't even have to share. He can, but he can also just go into action
I can just
mode,
do it.
which is like literally, if you tell him to wait, his brain will explode.
Yeah.
I have to be really careful in how I appropriately tell him on certain things. But what I appreciate is that Joey is also that way, and so he was very efficient in saying, "Hey, Crystal's going to come work here
Now.
and saying now, and like being, because if you didn't say anything, she wouldn't be here, right? Like literally, if you just kept your mouth shut.
I still remember. So it was like my second week there, and because I worked there for a month before you got hired.
Yeah.
And I remember the second week, I pulled you aside in the green room, and I said, "Hey, look, I'm trying to save up for a ring, but I can't do it because we have a joint bank account, and she's going to see if I pay it. Like, can you funnel money into a separate? Like, can you give me cash?
It's like, can
But
you
then it ended up
embezzle
working
from
out.
yourself?
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, we'll figure something out." But
Yeah.
then I ended up getting it figured out, and it was fine. But yeah.
Yeah, no.
Well,
he
see,
did. Good
I
times.
know.
He did.
See, I know. It's wild now. It's weird because like my ADD brain, half the time I see Joey as like my child, but other half I see him as like my bro at the same time.
Yes.
So when Joey comes to me sometimes
They're
with
only a year
ideas like
apart.
that, I
They're 1 year
see
apart.
it in myself of like what I've done in the past. And I'm like, okay, Joey, that's cool. And then, but in the back of my brain, I'm like, if I just give him a week, he'll figure it out on his own. So
Amen.
a lot of the times I'll just wait purposefully. And then like, especially with the ring,
man.
like 3 days later, he's like, oh no, I totally got it figured out. I'm like, there you go, bud.
Okay, but here's
He
the
got
thing.
it. He
Here's
got
the
it.
thing.
Yay.
He speaks from a
Yay.
place of like legitimately. Because the Wizard's awake earlier than me every day, and we don't stop Fable. Like we have Fable as a family. We have Fable. We're just Fable all the time. There's like we're watching TV and we're like, oh, that'd be a really good thing for Fable, or we're thinking at dinner about like what the next product launch is going to be, or
think you kinda
like we
have
just
to.
don't stop. So and I think for people who are doing what we're doing in the small business world that we're doing it in, that say like you can turn it, like you can't, like you might be able to get away from it for a little while. And I say get away from it, like we're not looking to get away from it, but get away from it as far as like be able to focus on other things. But it's always in your brain. Everything you see is like, this would be great. This would be wonderful. But he is always awake earlier than me working on things. And by the time I am awake, and he rolls out of bed like so happy and so ready to
I'm
be
like,
alive.
it's 4 a.m.
Could not be
He's
me.
so happy.
Nope.
And I feel like that would be torture. That's like, you want my worst nightmare? That's my worst nightmare.
I can't even imagine.
No. And so I roll out of bed with like one eye kind of open and like trying to like find my way to the coffee pot.
Where's
and
my
I'm like,
coffee at?
and,
Yeah.
and I'm like, just don't even say it. And he's so excited to share everything he's done.
Oh my
from the
gosh.
time-
Because by the time I get or she gets up, I've been awake for like 4 hours.
That's not true.
Like stewing
That's
on
not
ideas.
true. It's normally like
and
2
then I'm like,
hours. But either way.
so I wait. She gets a little coffee. She puts her pot in, and then I have to wait for like. I'm like, "Are you ready for my
No,
for
he's
my
like,
brain
are you
dump
ready?
yet?
Are you ready?
Are
And
you
then
ready
he'll, like,
now?"
And then he can't wait. Sometimes he like
your
slides
coffee
in a
done
little
yet?
piece of information.
No, I'm like, so I don't know. Cac's totally good right
yeah,
now.
or he'll just start sighing at me and be like, okay, are you ready? Like he just like sighs at me until. So I feel like that's exactly how Joey is, right? Like he's excited to share what
Yeah.
progress
Oh
he's
my
made.
But
right?
on that note, and what I was kind of getting at was it's almost like 2 fireworks going off in the room at the same time. So when my brain is actively going sometimes when I come and pop into the lab and then Joey's like, hey, I got these 7 ideas. And I'm like, great. I already have room for 12 of mine. I don't care about yours right now.
See, the thing is though, going back to their brains, okay, like it is for him, it's like one thing at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you're like, hey, I want you to solve world hunger, he's got to finish that before he
Yeah.
can move on to the next task.
Oh
Yep.
man.
And so he will get hyper focused on whatever that is, but his brain doesn't have space for anything else at that moment. So
Yep,
even with
I get
follow up,
that.
his email, don't even get me started. It gives me such anxiety. His email gives me anxiety like no other, because it's just a compilation of
totally.
like 4 billion things, and then every
folders.
email he'll open it and then just leave it read because that's in his brain, like he read it, so that means it's done or something, and then he can never find it again.
Yeah, she'll ask me, she'll like, this email, I'll search, I'll be like, tools from Harbor Freight. I'm like, 2003. No, that's not it. And then I'll have to go check my junk folder because sometimes I'll click select all and move it all to junk on accident instead of like
gives me
red.
the
Oh, yeah,
things.
yeah.
my
Hey,
God.
where'd it go?
One
You accidentally archived it?
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's in the
Crap.
spam.
So
Yeah.
Whoops.
Crystal sends us a lot of message. 9 times out of 10, we're both in the email. But
Yep.
there was one email that you sent. I think he sent it to you and just sent it to you. And then when you responded, you just responded to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Where's that email from Crystal?" I'm like, I didn't get an
What are you
email from
talking
Crystal.
about?
I don't have that email.
Like, what do you
from
mean? It's right
Crystal."
here.
And he was like, "Where's that email from Crystal?" And I was like, "I don't have it." And I was like, "Look, she's never sent me anything about this." And he was like digging for this email, and he was like, "Oh, you weren't on it." But he was so mad because I was supposed to just. What he wanted me to do was he wanted me to re-forward it over to him because he lost it.
Yep.
And
very
that's
big
on
anxiety.
balance, right?
Yes,
That's how you
absolutely.
balance each other out.
That is balance. But there's so many like nuances to in that way to like working together. But I feel like personality wise, like because you're so you're both very different too. It's really complementary in
Yes.
the same way. Yeah.
You know what's
Totally.
wild though is like, you guys tell me this all the time and I just don't believe it because you have the comfortability that we have, but we've been together for like, this year we'll be married 15 years.
Yeah.
And
Yay.
but like
Awesome.
it feels like that for you guys when we
Yeah.
talk to you, but really like you guys have only been together for like what, 4?
3.
3
That's wild.
years. Been married for 6 months.
You act like
Yeah.
old married couples.
In a good way. In the
Yeah.
That's
best
how
way.
you know it's real.
Yeah. that
I
is.
will
meant
get
to
in
be.
my brain about something. I'll have this all worked out. Oh, it's an awesome idea. And she'll be like, okay, well, how are we gonna make that work though? And I'll get frustrated.
That's
and then
true.
and then she'll be like, explain. I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. So I will tell you what I
redact
told.
that.
I will tell you what I told him yesterday, and I think this is very valuable for you all to also think because we do that all the time. But I said, I'm like, okay, when you're driving the car, I am your mirrors. I'm showing you the areas you can't see, and I am making you aware of them. And if you have an answer to that, if you have a way to figure it out, great. But I need to be your mirrors because if you don't look, you're going to crash right now.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what.
Not like
What we
actually
are.
driving, but like in business. And
Yeah.
like
I got the
that.
metaphor.
Yeah.
Or any life
Well,
thing.
speaking to
I'm
the-
Life in
I'm
general.
Speaking to the
yeah.
world.
And
It's
I
true.
hope he's mine. Although a lot of times he just does whatever. I'm like, hey, I think it would be a great idea to jump off this cliff. He's like, okay,
Wait, I trust you. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. The parachutes, I don't know.
yeah,
Whatever.
let's go.
So
let's go.
are you comfortable over there, Ronnie James? Do you need to like bring that a little closer? You good? Every
I was like, what? Are you
every time you're talking to it, you're like, So we're back.
No, I'm not. I'm like right here.
Okay.
He's chilling. Why are you
Dog
judging
chilling.
him?
Chilling.
I just want to make
Don't
it's
judge.
good.
We
There
listen.
you
We don't
go.
judge. We listen. We don't.
Now,
Your order is
my
ready on
ADD
number
feels
3.
better now that you're doing what you're told.
Is he better? Gosh,
Like
I
I
would
work
never even notice
at the
that.
grocery store.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's all up in my grill.
So one of the things you'll find quickly about the wizard is that he loves picking on people is his love language. That is his love language all the way. And if you're
Yes.
not getting picked on, that means he doesn't like you. We
It
do
really
tell
is.
everyone,
If I don't call you like a POS or stupid at least like twice, it's probably
like
'cause I don't like you.
legitimately, that means
Literally.
he does not like you.
Yep.
And so we are a small business
means
and
you
we are
love
not
me then.
corporate. And so we don't have quite some of the same guidelines of that. We want people to be themselves.
It's kind of like back in the day, like when like you used to like a girl on the playground and be like, "No, you're dumb.
You're stupid.
Uh-huh.
That's how
I
I
don't
got
like
Crystal.
you. You're gross."
Yeah.
Girls
That's
are
how I got
gross.
Crystal. I was like, you gross.
And now we're
I like
married.
you.
And now you're married. That's love.
Will you marry me?
Okay,
you're
You're
not
dumb.
You're stupid.
Yeah. but
Yes,
no,
I do. Ew.
Genuinely, that is. So anything you hear where he picks on Joey, that's just his love letter to Joey, is what it really amounts
He just loves
to.
Joey a lot.
He
But
just loves
also
Joey a
at
lot.
this
I'm also
stage in the game,
not a
I'm
little
like,
bitch.
if somebody doesn't like him, what are they going to do? Fire me? That's not going to happen.
I will legitimately fire him. I'm not kidding. I
She's
will
the only
kick
one
him.
who can.
I will. There's been
He just
threats.
rehires himself.
He does. Sometimes he does from time to time. I'm like,
Noted.
that's it. You're done. You're out of here.
I'm back in.
Noted.
Actually, let me tell you, I would probably be in a lot of trouble because he has like every single access to everything in like as far as
Yep.
I don't even know my own access.
Yeah.
He has. Tell me what my login to get into any social media. I have no idea. He logs into my social media.
I
have
love that
no
so
idea.
much.
So, I got to be careful when I do fire him because I have to make sure I get my passwords back first. Just kidding. No, he's not going anywhere. If he's going out, the ship's going down, right? Like
It's
we're
true.
going together.
That's fine. If she wants to fire me, I'm just going to open up princesssucks.com and
Yeah.
just roll with it.
He also has all the domain access, so
blog.
like he's the one that controls that. No, I'm kidding. He's not going anywhere.
Gonna
But
build you a blog like Creed from The Office. It's like creedthoughts.com/. It's like not an
That's a
actual,
Word
It's just
document.
a Word document.
no, I do threaten to fire him a lot though. I'm like, that's it. Although then he just threatens to fire other people. So I only threaten to fire him. So yeah.
It's true.
That's marriage.
Just so like you know this on the side note, like if you come up with me and if you give me like 3 complaints about somebody else at the lab, I'm just like, okay, get rid of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
He doesn't-
over.
That'd be
It's like I don't care,
No.
just end it.
but he also those are very idle threats because he wouldn't
Yeah,
actually
no.
want that to happen. But
No. That's why most of the time now I deal with it.
yeah.
And I let it go. Unless it's something that's very, very urgent
Yeah.
that I feel like you guys need to be involved
Yeah.
in at this point. I
Well,
feel
and I
I'm,
think-
I'm like, Joey, this could have been an email.
No, well, and I will tell you, here's the thing. We work very
Sounds
differently.
personal.
The wizard is very good at quick acting. I have to noodle on things. And so I also like to be very organized. And so I do feel like there's a certain conversation structure that I have to have organization to.
Yeah.
In order for me to feel like we're moving in the right direction. And it's a good thing because if it wasn't for and I'm not that organized, but if it wasn't for my level of organization, it would be like the wild.
I
Wild
will
West.
say,
I understand.
I'm going to make myself sound very mature in this, but I completely understand how reasonable it is that it should take a week to come to a decision. Like that's not a long time, but for me, it feels like 5 years have gone by
Yeah.
in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we go like 3 days, I'm like,
That's-
why have you not figured this out yet?
Yeah.
That's why I call, because my brain works.
Oh, but see, I don't like talking on the phone either, so it makes it
Well,
worse.
Me either.
Suck it
I
up.
hate it.
Yay!
Yeah. See,
I
I don't
hate
mind.
talking on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, we will
Let's not call her
normally
now.
avoid that unless we have to.
Yeah, we
Just-
text a lot, but I'm just like, okay, cool.
Well,
Yeah.
Yep,
because
sounds
you have
good.
to be ready to act at that moment. So if he's ready to talk on the phone, you better answer. But if he's not, then
Yep.
he does not want to talk to you.
He'll call
yeah.
and be like, he'll
Yeah.
pick up,
Most of the time when I
"What?"
call Crystal, I'll have like an idea and I'll have pre-workout in one hand. So it'll just go back and I'm like, okay, you got all that? You good? Okay.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
yeah. Okay, bang.
Yeah, I will also tell you
Goodbye.
he
And
does
I'm like,
have,
why hasn't she done it yet?
he's got a lot of FOMO. So I don't know if you all are like this. One thing, and call it whatever you want to call it, but he tends to the wizard tends to suction cup near me at all times. So if I'm talking to Crystal, he'll
It's because she smells good.
If he just smells me talking to Crystal, he'll like hunt me down and be like, "What are you talking about?" Like he like wants to be. He's like got the FOMO so
Give me the
bad.
tea.
I know. He's like he is.
Spill it.
What did they say? What happened?
Yeah, like
What's going on? Something wrong? No.
I will be mid doing something, like in the middle of dealing with something. He'll be
I'll
like, "So
pop
what
up.
they say?
I'll pop up over
What
her
happened?"
desk.
Literally.
What are you doing?
What happened? What are you talking about? I'm in like mid email. I'm like, Joey, I can't do two things at once. And he's like, "What are you talking about? Dude? What's going on?" I'm like,
I'll sit there on the cubicle. I'll just be like,
"What you doing?"
Do you think it's
Sorry,
because
still
you
doing
don't
it.
have a computer? So now you're just like there by yourself, swirling back and
Oh,
forth
yeah,
in your
we're supposed to
chair.
do it.
I'm on my phone. I will swirl in my on my phone. I'll swirl in my chair on my phone looking for places. That's what I do. I just do it all via Google Maps. I just type in.
We're going on
I'll
an
do
adventure.
barbershops.
You drop the
Yeah.
little
In
guy
Atlanta.
into it.
So,
Yeah.
We're here.
yeah, shameless plug. Joey's responsible. Joey, this is a great opportunity here. Joey's responsible for wholesale accounts. So
The Crusader
and
at
his-
FableBeardCo.com.
and
That's
his
right.
income directly relies on his success. So if you want Joey to eat,
Buy stuff.
yeah,
please.
you need to get some. He needs
I need
some wholesale
food
accounts.
and drums.
I know he is not.
You heard it here.
If you don't buy, he won't eat, and so
And
it's
truck
very,
Well, see, that's
yeah.
another
And D&D.
ADD thing for me. When we were like talking about Joey doing wholesale stuff, for me, my brain, like I already had it figured out. I already knew the plan. I already knew like he's not an idiot. He could figure it out. So like we sat down and I was like, okay, Joey, this is what I want you to do. I want you to sell shit. And like that's the prior
That was the
parameters I gave
conversation.
him.
I was
that
like,
was the
okay.
parameters.
And then I expected him to like just do it.
And
Yeah.
then he figured it out.
Yeah, yeah. So you gotta, and it's and when trial and error is half of it, right? But like, but there's a certain level of like, hey, what do you expect when what information? Like we don't have like a lot of. And one thing I will say, as a small business, we don't have a lot of rules. We've started to make more of them because we've realized there's a need for more structure with more personalities.
Yep.
And we work together as that, but we enjoy letting people. I really like the idea of people coming in and doing their job and not having to have a lot of dumb rules. I
Yeah.
will say Dave Ramsey did say, this is one thing I've gotten from him that I have really loved, is he said, you've hired stupid people if you have to start making stupid rules. And I'm like, that's a really valuable point.
I
That's
think
a great
what's
quote.
so
Yeah.
hard for me though is because I'm so used to just like working through problems at scale so often that when somebody comes to me with something that I'm like,
This feels minuscule.
I'm like, I don't understand why you can't figure out how to be a regular human. What do you mean? And like, I'm just like annoyed by the question. Like,
You know,
Are you kind of stupid?
don't come to me with your problems.
I actually-
Yeah. Leave me alone.
I will tell you, he also has like, so one thing I've always said is like, I legitimately think he's a genius, right? I think the wizard is so smart, but he is very skilled, not skilled. Let me change this. He is, whatever he decides he wants to do, he will do really well. But if he doesn't like something, he is like an imbecile. And you're like, because he just doesn't want to do it.
Doesn't
And
wanna
so-
do it.
But it's so frustrating because you're like, I know you're literally smarter than this because like you literally are smarter than
Just
this.
can't be
and so
bothered
you're
to
just,
do it.
Yeah, you
he
better
just doesn't
watch
wanna
out.
deal with
Rodeo
it.
Clown 2026.
Yeah, he doesn't even want to deal with it. But he'll do things that are like so smart, and you're like, man, I can't even believe you like used your brain in this powerful way, or like things that are just so clever.
Like stupid things. You're gonna bring up the balloon, aren't you?
Oh no.
Balloon. All right,
What?
so he
Telepathy.
I'm
so
scared.
we recently had a birthday for an 8-year-old child,
Yes.
and he got a balloon for his birthday, and
A boon.
and the 2-year-old calls it a boon, and he cut somehow the little like weight that keeps it weighted down got broke, and the balloon, we have one area in our house that's like vaulted, and there's a really high ceiling, it's like 23 feet or something.
Yeah.
And right when you walk in, it's like right when you walk in the door, and he let it go, and up it went to the highest part of the house, and we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? We're like, there's no, we don't even possess a ladder that tall to get
And
over
I was
there
like,
to get it.
don't worry.
So he's
princess,
just
I got
he's
this.
just thinking about it, and I'm like, that's great. We're just gonna have to wait however many weeks for that, and it's gonna slowly come down, and there's
Yep.
gonna be like half there. It's gonna bug me.
No.
And so he got the leaf blower out of the garage, blew it over.
See, I
to
would
the
have
top
never
the
thought of that.
stairs, grabbed it, and saved the day.
Never would have thought of that.
Genius. pure genius. I was like,
literally, I would have never thought about that.
sat
I would
there
have let
with a
that
Nerf gun
balloon
and shot at it.
Oh yeah. I would have let that balloon sit there
that
for
would have
weeks
been
until it floated
exactly
down.
what I
No,
did
I was
too,
just like
in frustration.
I was like, there we go.
He did, and he saved the day. And then he came over to me like once it was like he didn't even tell me what he was doing. He just ingenious this thing. Now, mind you, that was his whole world at that point. Like once he decided that balloon was coming down, nothing else was going to happen until that balloon.
The blinders
There
were
was
up.
nothing else that mattered in the world than getting that balloon down. And once he did, it was like it was a moment of just sheer joy. But it was just
and
how
it was
his
so
brain,
stupid because it was one of those husband moments too. Because I was like, totally got that balloon down.
he did.
yeah.
He did. But if
You
you're
remember
like,
when I got that balloon down like that?
Yeah. I'm a man.
But if you like, sometimes I'll be
I'm
like,
a big
hey,
man.
hey, can you like change that light bulb? And he'll be like, I don't know how to change light bulbs. And I'm like, yes, you do. Because he just decided
Just
he didn't
doesn't
want to do
want
that.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, normally he's
I
really
know,
good
maybe
with
Joey can do it.
normally
That's
he's
the
really
most
good with like
Colin thing I've
husband
ever
duties,
heard.
but sometimes you're like, I know you know how to do this.
You're like,
I know
just
you
don't
do.
want to.
It's
I
like,
don't know. I can't remember what one of our Braden or Easton. I can't remember. They came up to me like yesterday. They were asking me to do something, but they came to me as if like you were the guy who knows how things work.
Absolutely.
Figure it out. And then I was like doing something else, and I was like, I think it was Braden. I was like, Braden, I don't understand what you want me to do. I was like, just do what I do. Just press the buttons until something happens. That's how I figure
it
out.
And then you'll learn and figure it out.
Figure it out.
Nice.
I do that though. That was my fault because I'm normally like, hey children, go have your dad do it. Like that's what I like I don't do
Nice.
that. I don't fix stuff. That's not my job. That's
Okay.
not my job.
Marriage.
Yeah.
So,
That's all
side
I
note,
wish.
you guys got a place recently.
Yeah.
We did.
How are you
No.
enjoying that?
Well, it is
We love it.
fantastic.
It's literally 1.5 minutes from our
Yeah, so they upgraded their life because they also used to live rather far from work.
Yeah,
and
45 to 50-minute drive.
Yeah,
every
and
day.
they
Yeah,
had
and you
to
guys
commute
drive
daily.
a antique car.
Yeah, well, just
Yes.
I mean, gosh, talk about another great thing
Clifford.
though. The fact that you do get to work together and at least you could commute together. Like, could you imagine being off work and you're like, great, an hour drive home alone? Like, that's so depressing.
I
It's
know.
super
It
lame.
really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm good.
we
I
did
did
not. We did not like it, and we quickly realized that yes, it's kind of what we were talking about before about like work, quote unquote, work-life balance.
Right.
Because even though obviously we are not the wizard and the princess, we do like still talk about Fable at home, and it's very much a part of our lives at home too.
Believe it. I will say
Fable.
you were like so dedicated. Like you can feel it, and that does it does mean a lot to us because it like having a business it's hard. It is hard, and we need people that care.
You need
about
people
the
on
big
your
picture.
side that
Yeah.
are actually on your side,
That-
not just there to get a paycheck, but that
absolutely.
are there.
Like they
rooting.
need to care at
Yeah.
the because every unhappy customer or every good decision or bad decision, like you stand to gain a lot within our world because we are small and there's room for everyone to grow.
Yep.
But we also could lose a lot if you don't do your job right. Like if you don't care, we stand to lose a lot. And so as we've been adding more people, it's obviously hard to tell. And some people will weed themselves out if they don't care, right? Like they're not going to stay in the Fableverse for long. But we need people that genuinely want to be part of the process.
And I mean,
grow together.
that's why we moved where we did.
Right.
Because, like I said, yes, with work-life balance, we were quickly like realizing that the commute back and forth was taking up a lot of valuable time. That if we
Right.
wanted to go on a date or like go somewhere, it's like, oh my gosh, like we're eating up all of our time
Right.
driving.
And it just sucked having to drive like almost an hour to and from.
Yeah, and we're so committed to Fable that we got our place a minute away
I know.
from the lab.
They were so, and we're like, this is great because now we're just going to call Crystal all the time and be like, hey, can you buzz over?
Can you,
and
I did
go
that
unlock
the
the
other
door.
day. So our lovely
crew.
office cleaning crew, they sent me a text message and they were like, so the door's locked and I put my keys inside and now I'm just sitting there. So I pop up the camera and she's just like sitting there in the front parking lot with like nothing to do. She couldn't drive away. And I was like, well, I'm just going to call Crystal. And I called
The one time I had no vehicle
Yeah,
there.
and I called Crystal. I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm at home. I'm like, cool. Is your husband home? She goes, no. And I'm
His
like,
they
serpentine belt
they
had
share
broke.
a car. They share
yeah,
a car.
and I'm
so-
like, great. So his car's a piece of junk again. So we, so
no.
I was like, all right,
There's
well,
love.
so I was basically calling her on the weekend, being like, can you go there so I don't have to?
I was like, I'm sorry, I could walk.
But I ended up figuring it out. I was like, oh, I could just do this from my computer and unlock the door like a henchman. Boop.
Yeah. No,
And
he
I got
did
him
figure
in,
it out
but-
on his own, but he was gonna try. He was gonna try to see if Crystal was available.
Yeah, we are down for the cause. We are here till the
They're
end.
there.
Sure.
I
They're
mean,
there
last
till the
night,
crusade.
for
I know.
example, you were out again, like you're packing your drums up because he's going to record today, and I was on TikTok just scrolling, and then I saw the Wizard and the Princess on TikTok. I'm like, I'm gonna go join in on the live and say hi to everybody.
I'm so
just
glad you
glad.
were.
It quickly grew so fast. There were so many people in there
I was
commenting.
so happy. Well, we were just like trying. We're like maybe because we're trying this whole TikTok live thing, right? Like, but we're like maybe it's the time of day, so we're like let's see if we go live a little bit later. If there'll just be like more people in the ethos.
And then it got lit in the club.
The tavern got lit.
Oh my-
Tavern
I heard-
got lit.
I heard about
and
the
the comment
trolls.
section was wild.
It was wild.
And
So
I was
Colin was
"Good."
like, Crystal, moderate comments from home. And I was like, okay, I'm just making
I don't
beef stew
know,
right now.
but I
Sounds
have
good.
like no idea. Like,
Making beef stew.
if anyone out there in the interwebs would like to share with me what do the trolls specifically think they're gonna get? I have
I don't get
no
it.
idea.
I think
They
it's to
have
get
no
different
life.
lives taken down.
Yeah, I don't know. I went on live this morning on the treadmill from my personal account,
Oh,
just
did
like
you?
to talk to people. And I got, you know how you get notified of like so and so joined the live?
Yeah.
And it was like TikTok join. And I was like, oh. I was like, that can't really be like TikTok, but if it is, hello. And then it said a comment, and it said, like, we noticed a violation. Please end your live now. And I was like, I'm not going to do
But, like,
that.
why
But
would
then,
they
like,
even
later
wanna
on, I
do
realized
it?
it was like when I looked after the live, it was
the
just like a
comments?
random, like, troll account. And
Yep.
I'm like, just to get you to end the, like, what is the purpose
I don't-
of
we
this?
don't
It
understand
might be, my guess would be to make sure that certain other creators are doing better on live. So they probably have like bot accounts go through and try to take down other lives that are doing
That's
well.
so smart, Crystal.
That's so stupid. Why could you could just be a better person?
That's
on
what I would
camera.
guess, at
Like,
least. Yeah.
Well,
just
it's
do
just
better.
wild.
Instead of a
It's-
snake,
it
just
is
be better
wild.
human, you dummy.
It is
Stupid.
wild.
Yeah.
I still think we should bring back public stoning for people like that.
Oh, well, you know.
TikTok.
Well, yeah. Let's just see how the internet likes that.
Yeah.
That's probably the clip that goes viral.
yeah. I think we
You
should
heard it
bring
here,
back
folks.
public stoning.
Flog them.
But yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I was just at home making beef stew, and I was like,
No,
I'll moderate some comments. I'm here for the
dedicated
cause.
It's
for
funny
the
the way you
cause.
say that. Beef stew.
Yeah, she was. She was cooking. She was making some dinner.
It was
But
delicious.
it
She was
Anyway.
making beef stew and deleting peach emojis in the chat.
Yeah.
straight up. That's exactly what was happening. I was like one hand like trying to like chop
Stirring the
potatoes.
stew
Yeah.
and there's a boop. That one's
I
gross.
thought you were
Peach.
there.
Sicko.
I am a boomer when it comes to all things.
She's like, what does
that.
this mean? I was like, I will have to tell you that
I know.
I
later.
know. I was loving that. Where
Off
everything
camera.
that would pop
What
up,
does that
Megan would be
mean?
like, "What's happening?"
I know. I,
I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Also, the wizard gets a little territorial with his space, so I have to like hover way back far. Because
But she's so naive. She's like, what does a gorilla grip mean? And I'm like, I'm going to have to
You're
tell
like,
you
I
that
will
later.
explain this
I'm
after
going
the
to have
live.
to tell you that later.
okay, but also I really couldn't
Oh,
read them because
no.
I was standing too far back.
Yeah.
And if I'm too loud next to his ear, that he gets really whew.
See,
He
I'm
kept it-
perfect for comment moderation because I have perfect vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have-
You
Throwing
should
that
have
flex out
perfect
there.
vision with those Dahmer glasses.
I
You have a windshield on you.
windshield.
Now, for the internet, I'm talking so much crap because I did have glasses for like 30 years, and I ended up getting LASIK, and it's the best thing ever.
did
So
get
you should do
LASIK.
it. But then you might kind of
not
look like
sponsored.
a thumb. I know it becomes part of your
I
personality.
honestly, no, I actually would. They're really annoying and they're expensive.
They
well,
slide.
I know a doctor. here
Yeah,
in
I will
Nashville.
tell you, I think you will save money. It's like an initial cost up front, which they do like, you know, they
Yeah,
do
but
have
do
like
what the
payment
rest of the
plans
world
and
does.
stuff.
Charge
Fable
it.
sponsored by LASIK.
I know, really. No,
Sorry.
he was gonna get like some kind of eye infection or something because he did not take care of his contact lenses.
Yeah,
and
it
he
was.
had
It was like
terrible
these were
hygiene.
dailies, and I was like, cool, I'll wear them for 3 weeks.
He would sleep in them, and then what he would do, and I want you to know,
Oh, man.
I am an extremely clean person. I like everything in its place, and a place has everything.
Yep.
And I already deal with 3 boys, and then him, which is my biggest and oldest child. And
You're brave.
yes, and it's like it's already hard enough because I can't think if my house is dirty. Like I can't even focus. On
No,
what's
I was like,
going
I
on
need
around
some
me.
contact solution. I'd find a bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, this worked.
Then when he
Oh
would
my gosh.
decide he was done with it, like one night a week, he would decide I'm gonna take my contact lenses out, and he would just like fling them wherever he felt like
I felt
it.
terrible.
Stick to the wall.
I didn't know she knew this, but like I feel terrible because we have cleaning people too, but like
But I clean
I
all
got
the
in the
time.
bad habit of just like taking my contacts out when I was laying in bed. I was like, I don't want to get out of here. I was just like, bloop.
Yeah,
I
he'd
just
fling
like
them.
fling them.
He would just fling them. It was
What how
awful.
far I can get.
But yes, I mean, we do highly recommend 10 out of 10. But moral of the story is, all this to be said, is that it's the wild, wild west working with your spouse. And there are a lot of things. What do you think the hardest thing has been about working together?
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah,
She's bossy.
I am. Yeah.
I own that.
Yeah.
I own that too.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that?
But it's okay because I need it.
Do you think that'll make your marriage stronger quicker though?
Yes, I think
Oh,
it
yeah,
already. I
100%.
honestly think
You
it
already
already has.
recognize it, right?
Yeah.
I think it already has, to be honest. And honestly, I'm gonna just speak from experience, from what we've gone through, is that obviously in marriage, you guys are together and everything. You are a team. You are on the same level, but you have your strengths and your weaknesses, and you're there to balance each other out. And sometimes in a work environment, it can feel very different, especially because I've been like named the manager of everything. So
right.
sometimes it can be like I'm assuming it can feel a little bit challenging sometimes to, have to be like, oh, my wife has to tell me what to do all the time. Which I understand can be kind of frustrating, but yeah, I think that's been like the hardest thing that we've. No, I think that's the hardest thing that we've had to deal with. But we've been able to work it out really well, and it's just this mutual understanding of like, this is the job I've been assigned to do. This is the job that you've been assigned to do. It
I'm
doesn't
the boss,
have.
and you're an idiot, and you're a monkey. So do it.
It has nothing to do with our
Right.
marriage
I
roles.
say dance.
Right.
It has
Dance.
nothing to do with like your value as my husband and my value as your wife. It
Do
doesn't
you
have
find
anything
it?
to
Do
do
you
with it.
find it hard though? Because like I think one of the things for us is like we've gotten to the point where we've spent so much time together and worked so much together that like we often, or me personally, I don't get mad at situations. I get mad that like we can't get mad at situations, if that makes sense. Like it goes from being mad to fixed before I can even be mad about it. So like I'm just like, so like
I want to be mad about it. For a
yeah,
second.
I'm mad that I
right.
can't
And
be
she's
mad
like,
about
that's
this.
cool, or you could just stop being stupid and we can move on. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but I want to be
No,
mad.
he's hilarious because we'll have like huge crises, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna get this handled. And I'll be like, I don't really like that shade of pink. And he's like, what do you mean you don't like this
That's
shade
true.
of pink?
So like we've been in like when Joey first
Yes.
was like working with us, he called me and we were like in line to vote or something like that. And he's like, so we smell gas at the lab. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, gas. I'm like, okay, call the fire department. Like, what are you calling me for? I'm not there.
He's like calm, cool, and collected about
And I was
stuff
totally
like that,
fine. But then she'll be like, I don't like the way that I don't like this color on this piece of art. I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Oh my gosh,
so-
we are the same way. He is so collected and calm about like giant life things that I'm like very
Like
worried
when my
about.
truck got stolen. My old,
Yes,
Yeah.
he was so calm about it, and I'm like
What am I gonna
panicking.
do?
I'm like having a full blown anxiety attack, and like little things though will happen.
A box will be in
like,
my way.
Yeah, something will be in his way, and he'll be like, "Stupid box!" and he'll like kick it. And I'm like,
telling
"Oh
you.
my
Oh,
god!"
That's what I love
hit
about
my head
Joey.
on the shelf the other day.
He bonked his head on the shelf in our laundry
I've
room,
done it twice.
and he goes,
It's stupid. It's
instead
low
of saying
and
it's like
dumb.
Yeah,
Why is
instead
it
of saying
there?
it's your fault, you're like, stupid shelf, it's always in the way. I'm like,
It's in the way.
been there the
My-
whole
The
time.
other
I know.
aspect
Yeah.
of this was your head was also involved.
Yeah, you moved your head
My
towards
head
it.
should have been there, and that shelf should have been on to move up.
I will
It's
say the
stupid.
wizard does that too. He gets like he'll do something like that. He'll hit his head, and then he'll look at me and be like, "Why didn't you tell me?" Like as if I did it. I'm like, I didn't do it. Why didn't you know that I was going to hit my head on the shelf and warn me?
You monster.
I'm sorry.
No, it is pretty funny, but I think that those are, and I will say, even though we do work together, I will say that I do have the final say, and so
Yeah.
a lot of times, and I also am. I wouldn't say I'm bossy, but I'm very clear with my expectations.
Yeah.
And I think that is when my expectations are very high and I expect you to meet them. And that is one thing I will say. I have been like that forever. I was 16 years old and I knew exactly what I was in
The
life.
problem
I was
is-
very clear.
The princess is God's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because like every idea or everything that comes out of her mouth just works in
Yeah.
business and in life. So like when we'll have a conversation, I'll be like, I got a great idea. And she'll just be like, oh. And I'm like, now I'm not going to do it
Never mind.
because it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how our life works now. So like now, like even we're so connected, even like a look And then I'll get mad. And she'll be like, why are you mad? I'm like, because I know you don't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm just mad that you don't like it
mad you
because it's
don't
not
like
going to work.
He gets super dramatic about stuff like that.
Pretty
yeah.
dramatic.
That is, and
I'm a little bit of a diva.
he's very dramatic. He is very dramatic.
You gotta
So
snap the fingers, dude.
yeah. So it can be challenging sometimes. I think the hardest part is like, when you are married and maybe you are having like a conflict of interest. And what I would say, like, sometimes it's like we're like two cooks in the kitchen and like we're like fighting over which is going to get baked first. Like whatever
Yeah,
it might be.
we'll
Or,
just be like
we're cooking
3
over-
days deep in an argument. It's because we both want it to work.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yep.
at the end of the day, you're like arguing over like which idea is going to get us where we want to go, or like how to fix a problem that maybe is like a big problem, like, and we need to fix it. And we're like, okay, well, what do we do to fix this? But it's like we're both fighting over the outcome of like fixing it. And so like you have to kind of
I get it.
evaluate, like what is.
It's nice when your idea does work though. You're like,
I did it.
you feel accomplished. You're like, oh, I made something work.
Yeah, the balloon thing was a great idea.
Yeah.
Great
Pretty
idea
nice.
for him.
I think it goes
So
back
once
to
every 4 years,
Yes.
I win.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it goes back to like different personality types too. And that's another challenge is that, being in like a management role, I sometimes, because he is my husband, I do hold him to a higher expectation than I probably do hold other people, which
Well,
is 100% true.
And I will
so-
say, unfortunately,
That's because he's supposed to be the crusader to your
well,
Valkyrie.
I think it's kind of like he's kind of an extension, right? Like he has to be also a representation of. He can't get away
You're not
going
going
to
to make me look stupid.
Right, he can't get away with nonsense, and then other people are like, well, great, the bosses,
Right.
like, it's
I'm
important.
guilty. I am guilty of sometimes being like, well, why didn't you understand to do this? Or why didn't you do this? And I'm holding him to a higher level of expectation in his role at
we
his
noticed
job.
it. I
Right.
noticed it in email sometimes. Crystal will answer, and I'm like, I think to myself, Crystal, I asked Joey to do that, not you.
I'm just gonna sew my mouth shut.
It's because I know him so well. It's
Right.
like what you were saying before too, is that when I notice, like I know the things that you can accomplish, it
Right.
makes me nuts when I'm like, oh my
You
gosh,
see,
like
you're
I know.
it's
Yeah.
the most unnerving thing.
Yeah, I'm like, just do
Because
it.
you know
I know what you're capable of. Yeah.
And so you're
Yep.
like, this is so.
That's why I give him so much crap too. A lot of
Yeah.
times, really, because I was just like, bro, what are you doing?
I
I
know
know you can
what?
do this.
But I do it in every aspect of the wizard is a very skilled weightlifter, and he can lift a lot of heavy weight. And then when he goes out there, and sometimes he just like tinkers
Two.
around.
You're like, what are you doing?
And I'm like,
Count
oh,
him,
are you gonna,
2 marshmallows.
are you
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
actually like, are you gonna like lift today, or are you just like
Oh
playing
man,
around?
she does that in the gym to me too.
Yep.
She's just like,
And
"Are
then you
gonna-"
do.
Yeah.
Don't you?
No. Well, so normally I'll, but it's like genuine. I'm like, oh, so you're just going light today, and he'll be so.
And then I'll just like
mad.
get mad and I'll put her on the bar and do her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
He
the
gets
time that you
really-
ended up like bleeding from your sweat?
No, that was his own.
That was
Oh,
my
okay.
fault. I was wearing a deadlift suit that time, and then my face just started bleeding.
That was terrifying.
That's so
I have
scary.
been so.
She got
pretty metal.
freaked out one time. I was doing overhead press, and it was only like 185, but like in her vision, because I was struggling to get over my head, I was totally fine.
Yeah.
She thought I was gonna die, and I put the weight down. I looked
like,
over. She's crying.
I don't know.
and I'm
I
like,
am
what is
not-
wrong with you?
I don't know.
That's
I don't know
me.
if you do this. Like, I'm not a worried person,
I
but
am.
I will see these things occur of like, I feel like it actually happened. Like, I physically saw that
Yes.
weight fall on him.
That's a trip. I
and
have the same thing.
it's like, made me so upset because it was like I saw it happen.
I swear he is
I
driving
think-
to Indiana today. And I cried this morning because I could only think about Joey getting in like an accident on the way to
side
Indiana.
note, I
and
hope
it
you're not
hasn't
leaving
happened.
her without a car. What's she
Yes.
gonna do?
He is.
She-
I'm going to hang out. I'm going to download.
yeah, but what if there's an emergency?
What if there's an
We're
emergency?
close. We're
Yeah,
close.
There's
Yeah,
plenty of
okay.
people.
I guess you can just go
I
to
got
the-
Cam, I got
Just
Max,
go to the
I
lab.
got everybody
Yeah,
around. I
yeah.
got you guys.
And my
We're good.
parents. And I got you guys.
Yeah.
And
She made stew for 3 days. She's got
She
leftovers.
has
Just like
plenty of
goes and buys a car while you're
No,
gone.
last night,
Surprise.
yeah. By the way, I got that Bronco.
I want a
Last-
Bronco Sport
she
so
wants a
bad.
Bronco Sport.
That's my sister.
They're really not that bad, aren't they? Like 26.
Yeah, they're not
I
that. They're
want
not
one,
that
though.
expensive.
Yeah.
They're actually really good, nice
It's the
cars.
goal.
You know what I
It'll
say?
happen.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Who makes the Bronco? See, that's what he would have
We
done.
can lie about how
Just
much
so
we
you
make.
know, he
You
probably
said.
100%.
He probably would have
I
already
make $1
ordered one
million
online
a
and been
year.
like, "Oh, we're gonna go pick it up." So true story. Because we have been together a really long time.
Yes.
But going back to like, I knew exactly. Like, I just have always been kind of in the direction that like I know of the things I want to go. So like I worked very young and I worked really hard and I was homeschooled. So I was able to work weird hours that other people weren't able to work because I had the ability to. Yep. And I got, I was very responsible. I've never had a speeding ticket or any sort of ticket.
Oh,
wow. Very responsible human being as far as stuff like that.
Yeah, me neither.
And I got my parents, I paid for it, but they got me a convertible Volkswagen Bug was my first car.
So cool.
And I loved I'm
what year was it
with that car.
More like the new Bugs?
It was new at the time.
Yeah,
I was new at the time.
It's not a 63.
I mean, yeah, I think it was like 2006 or anything, but it was new at the time.
It's not 5th edition.
I was obsessed with that car, and it was like the best thing in the world. And we were together a long time, and then we decided to have a baby, and we were having a baby and we were pregnant, and then he was like, hey, we're gonna need a different car. And we went to the dealership, going back to how I have to noodle on things, and like we drove a Hyundai Elantra or Hyundai Santa Fe, I don't even know what car we had, and we ended up, he was like, oh, this is great, let's get it. And like we left with that car, and I traded my Bug in. And I cried.
Yeah.
And the next day, I was calling the delership, asking them if they would take it back.
And I still to this day wish we didn't do it. I was like devastated.
Like, that's
I wish
ridiculous.
I still had that
you
car.
have a Beamer and everything.
And
now.
I cried. No, but that one,
sentimental value.
But my brain's back then.
That was like, I was devastated. But that decision happened too quick. He would have literally heard you wanted Bronco, and he'd be like, okay, let's go buy one.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know,
forget how we pay for it. And like none of that matters. It's irrelevant. Like, just go get it.
I'm kind of just like, you could always just make more money. So, you know, there's that.
I'm trying.
I know, Joey. No pressure. But
yes,
again,
please buy stuff. Please,
wholesale,
buy it.
Wholesale orders. If you're interested in wholesaling our products,
your order will be ready on Windows 3.
But then again, I'm like, I remember what we used to make when we first started out, like in life, and I'm like, oh, bro, you can't figure it out. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Valid.
No, I think it's just. I think there's both. I think there's room for both, right? There's room for improvement on both ends. We are not though. Don't like come to us for like budgeting advice or anything, because we're dumb. Okay, for anyone who's listening, neither the Wizard. I mean,
please order Fable products down in the link below so Crystal can get a Bronco.
Yeah, because every dollar we have goes somewhere within the world of Fable, and we have made a lot of errors in like judgment on what we should do and what we shouldn't do with money, because neither of us come from like finance backgrounds where we're like, hey, that's probably why we are.
I'm just like, oh, it's only $100,000.
I mean,
okay.
we are very reckless.
I was gonna say that. I think a lot of people who maybe are starting their own businesses or want to do what you guys are doing would probably be very cautious.
Yeah.
And obviously there's benefit to being cautious, but then also if you're not going to take the leap towards things,
what's the benefit?
I guess there's not really.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, because I think you have a little bit more of like sustainability, but we certainly like we don't live.
See, I think so much differently. I'm like, okay, if statistically, like 10% of businesses make it after 2 years, like if you're just going to fail anyways, you might as well doing what you want to do.
Go down in style. No, I think that is where. So I would say I'm better of the two, but neither of us are great at it. So, don't take.
But I think that's why Fable is so amazing and has grown to what it is now, is because of the fact that you guys are not afraid to like take the leap on things.
No, you have to kind of like
this,
figure it out.
Yeah. This podcast.
Yeah. We're starting.
It was funny. She was just like, we should do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. And like, I had already booked it for like 2 months.
So I will say, yes, I did say that. The Wizard has to hear what I have to say. And then this is what will happen. He will hear me. And then 5 minutes later, it will come out of his mouth like it was his idea.
Yeah. She'll be like, oh, that boat's really nice. I'm like, okay, we're getting a yacht.
No, it will come out.
Yacht life.
He will be like, oh, that's fine. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like, you'll never believe this. I think we should get a boat. And I'm like, I've never heard that.
I can't believe you thought of that idea.
What
a great idea.
Oh, thanks.
He does. We'll talk about something. And then that is exactly what happens. And Crystal has had witness to this too. Like I am not. She's seen this live and in action. But that's traditionally what will happen is that we'll talk about things, and then
almost every single call that we do on Wednesdays, I've seen it happen once.
Yeah. It's
and then I chuckle with my mic off.
Yeah, because it is like it happens all the time. You're like, no, this is the end.
So speaking on that, like, as you've gone with us in Fable, we're bringing you like more and more into like I guess the like business side of it. You see a lot of things that a lot of the other employees like don't see.
Yep.
Did you expect it to be as in depth or just I guess calculated?
We're bringing
like
her on strategically because she is very skilled, and so we want to. But no, she doesn't have enough time to do all of it because she's got a lot to do. So we put a lot on her very quickly. And that's one thing I will say about us is that once we recognize what you're capable of, we're just gonna
You're gonna do
dump,
it.
you know,
Here you
right?
go.
Like that's what you get.
Do it or don't.
Yeah, do it or don't. Yeah.
I agree. No, I didn't know how calculated it was. There are so much behind the scenes stuff for all of the marketing that goes into things, like even just like the ideas behind videos and the amount of people who are involved and on our side. You know, it's pretty cool. It also helps though to give me more insight about like why certain things happen and like why certain things don't happen and things like that maybe because we are so invested.
Right.
Obviously sometimes it's like, why didn't this thing happen? Like I wanted this to happen.
Right.
Like, whether it be like a video idea or whatever. But now that I'm on these calls with you guys, oh my gosh, it has just opened up my eyes so much. It's like, oh, that's why, because we're trying to hit this market or because we're, you know, channeling this into this ad or whatever. Or this ad's doing really well. So, you know, we're going to do this kind.
now we have to do 6 more just like it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do it the first time.
I didn't like it the first time.
What's really frustrating is like you put like your heart and soul into these things and then you just like try so hard and they're like, nothing worked. And you're like,
I'm like, really? We're on video number 3,000 now.
Yeah,
you haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. And so I think it's really helpful though. Like again, we're a small business, so we need everyone. We need everyone involved, but it is very calculated. And even some of the decisions we make with like everything, like every decision we make is for like what's going to be the betterment of the company. Like
and
none
it
of
makes sense, and it's helpful for me to be able to have information and then relay it the way I need to relay it to people.
Right.
So
or like even like promotions or why we're
Crystal's
doing
like, this is a
things, like,
need to know.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, some of it is, to be honest.
yeah.
Like sometimes people's plate like doesn't need to have all this other stuff on it.
100%.
And see,
They
that's
don't need to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Through like us growing and delegation, that has actually become a huge benefit for me because being like Joey, I would go into the lab when it was like 3 people, right? Like 3 total employees. And like, I would speak like just, I'd throw it all up and I'd be like, this is what's going on.
Shut your mouth.
But I'm telling people at the time who didn't understand, who couldn't execute or anything. And also at the end of the day, probably like realistically didn't care either.
Well, I think it's that he shares always like everything he shares is in terms of excitement.
Yeah.
So he's excited about these things. But like for other people, they're overwhelmed by them.
Yeah.
Like they're overwhelmed
Totally.
by the thought. They're like, oh yeah, we're growing. And it's like, I have to fulfill more orders. Like it's like stressful to them, you know? And so we just quickly like wanted to make sure that we keep, like you said, what they need to know and why. But a lot of times I think even when like there's frustration about like a last minute change or like, hey, we're going to do this quickly, it's because we need to pivot because we got to do something because we got to get revenue numbers up or we got to get, you know, we got to get people involved. Like we have to be really intentional about those decisions. And it doesn't always translate to like, obviously it's not because we just want to like be like, ha, gotcha. Like, you know, sprung it on you. Like, it's because we have to quickly pivot.
Like Joey is such a creative mind and like loves coming up with like video ideas and like all these kinds of things. And I think that this whole insight into how things work behind the scenes has been so helpful to be like, oh, here's some content that you can go do. Like these are like the ideas that we have, and it gives it a little bit more of like a streamline.
Right.
Thought.
And
Would you
what's
agree?
really, it is definitely
But I
hard
like my
because
idea better.
no, I mean, and the thing is like the ideas probably are not. It's not that they're probably bad, but like that was hard for him too because he always like having to listen to other people and then do what they say because they know because they're the ones kind of helping us.
When
get
you're a
to,
creative person, it is very hard.
It's
Yeah,
really
it's like,
hard
this is stupid.
because Joey's ideas are great and they're valid, but sometimes they flow off like, okay, but the bard is going to go on an adventure with the barkeep, but then the barkeep's girlfriend's going to have an affair, and then that affair is going to end up with this magical spell. I'm like, bro, we're selling beard oil.
No.
We can't sell that whole backstory in 5 seconds on the
so
internet.
I think when you're thinking about these types of like that, those are great. Like everything, that's not a real.
But it's
idea,
what
but
makes
that's,
the
That was
world
not
the
that was
world.
not Joey's idea. Just
yeah,
putting
that's
that
not
out there.
Joey's idea. There's no infidelity in Joey's mind.
Yeah, not yet.
But what?
No way.
But what we
Never.
what we quickly like recognized, it was really difficult for him too, because he would be like, I don't want to do this, or he would have. And the thing is, you don't get good quality ads with people who aren't creative, but you also don't get them if they're too creative, because then they run the opposite direction. And when you try to correct it and be like, hey, we just need to fix these things, it turns out like garbage, because they can't live in a world where they have to do what other people want them to do in the creative world. They have
so
to do,
hard.
It's really difficult. And
It's
so
like writing for a writer.
1,000,000%.
Man,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah. Or, I mean, you can, but like I said, if you didn't have the creative people, it would turn out like terrible. Like, so you have to blend.
I mean, it's like being in a band though too.
It's 100. I literally took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. And and you have to be very collaborative. And like, sometimes you don't
Blank
get to
covers.
do the things that you want to do.
Yep.
And I have that difficulty with him all the time, because I will want something done a certain way and he wants it done a different way. And it's like, who's going to win? Who's going to win?
It is
Yeah.
like being in a band.
It's like
We
if
both
you-
play music, so
It's like playing in a cover band versus playing originals.
Mm-hmm.
I hate playing covers. I think playing covers is a waste of my time.
yeah.
Like it really is. I think, and I'm not trying to.
Where it's still
not
like
trying
it's
to
still
crap
that
on
you're like
anyone.
being creative, but you're not.
Yeah, it's
you're,
like you get to play your instrument, but I'm not playing anything that I created. I'm playing something that someone else created. I'm having to live out someone else's.
So
dream.
when you're
Right.
in that
Oh, I
creative
getcha.
when you're in that creative process of like being in a band, are you creating these songs because you like want them to go big, or you just enjoy just making new stuff and you don't care who listens to it?
But that's kind of more the latter. I mean, it'd be awesome if they went big. Obviously, I know that the idea is to it'd be.
Well,
cool
you're not
if they-
leaving Fable, so it can't get too big.
No, I would even if I did.
I've got to go on tour.
on tour,
Tough
doing
shit.
wholesale orders in the van.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's 3 a.m. here, but I know it's 6 p.m. there.
Hey.
I obviously, we've gotten paid to play. We get paid to do stuff, and it's awesome. But it's when it's your own thing, and someone wants to give you money for it. You're like, oh, cool,
Right.
yeah, yes, I'm down.
I did this
for
because
free.
I
I'm not
love
gonna
it.
say
Yeah,
no. I'm not an
thanks.
idiot.
Yeah.
I do like that. I like that aspect of it, but I don't do it for that reason.
Yeah.
I think once you start doing it for that reason, you've kind of lost. Like, why do it?
It's a balance. It's
Yeah,
definitely
it's
a balance.
definitely a balance. It
Writing
is.
songs that you love and that you love doing, but then also having this is
business
where
aspect
this is
of
where
it.
our brains are the same. Where it's like, okay, but is this actually going to like reach people the right way? Like, are
Right.
people going to
And
hear
that's
it?
with us. Like
Music
we love
industry's
being
dead anyway,
creative
so it doesn't
too,
matter at this
but
point.
we almost have to work in the complete opposite. We want to be creative, but we want to be creative in a way that it sells millions of products.
Yeah.
Well,
It's hard.
and it's really hard, because one thing we know is like,
Yes, to
it's
answer
a
your question,
very,
yes.
it's
I do
a
want-
very difficult world to get people quickly, like to make them understand the brand quickly. Like if you just meet someone off the street, you have 1 second to tell them what we are, and if you lose them, they're gone. So we have to capture their attention so quickly, and then you have to try to sell the story. Okay, well that comes over the course of time, but the best path forward is to get them to understand something quickly, get them to be part of the brand, and then once they're part of the brand, they will figure it out on their own.
Wow.
People love it. They love the storytelling. They love it.
You have to
Yeah.
have a hook. It's like I'll relate this back to music. It's like having like a guitar riff.
Yeah, it's
If
just
you
a-
have that
it's-
Yes.
opening riff,
Yeah.
Except in our business, though, that riff has to be 3 seconds
It's-
max.
Hey,
No,
it's actually very
you're
similar
like,
in record
what?
companies. They play like maybe like 15 seconds of your song, and if it's not great within that much time, they're like, man.
We know,
Yeah.
like they know what's, and sometimes it's the silliest little things of what actually gets a customer to. Do you remember what ad you were, or how you became familiarized with the brand initially? Because you were a customer.
Oh, that's a great
Oh, that's
question.
a good question.
No, you know what? I actually.
How did you get sucked in?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
He's
don't-
gone.
I
He's
don't remember.
left
It
the
was an
chat.
ad. I was like, I think I was going through like stories on Instagram, and I think it just popped up.
So maybe someone you love. So it probably is an ad at that
It was
point.
just an ad, yeah. And I clicked on it. I was like, hey, this is cool. Because I was using products before that were not Fable, because I didn't know about Fable at the time, and they sucked. I was like, I'm not really happy with this. I need to find something else. And I wasn't really actively looking for anything at the moment. And then it popped up, and I was like,
And that's when our
I'm like,
ads
oh,
worked.
it's fantasy.
And let me
Cool.
tell you,
So I clicked on it, and I
Oh.
got it. The first thing I ever ordered, it was in 2021. I think it was December of 2021, I ordered a distiller butter. I'm sorry, a distiller balm and a distiller oil. Still my favorite.
Yep, it's true. And
Even over my own.
I swear, when we first met, we go on a date. I'm like, oh, like I'm genuine. This is a very true story. First date, I'm like, oh, you smell really good. He goes, it's a spiced vanilla bourbon beard oil.
Well, I feel like that does translate because that's what I love about it the most, though, is that like
Smell my beard.
he didn't come from just
Smell a
like
beard.
we didn't introduce him to the brand and then make him love it after the fact. Like he loved it, and that's why he came. We like
There's pictures of him on
collectively-
Facebook wearing like the beard ornaments.
Oh.
I love
And like
that.
being like, I
the
love
beard
Fable
orange.
Beard Co. It's in like
I-
2021.
And we love it, and that's the thing. Is
crazy.
like I hope that translates. Like this was started because of the like his love of gaming and things like that, and so
How's that
and my love of
lockpicking
business.
coming along?
I've always been into business, but it started from that, and so it's like it is like his. I always joke. I'm like he has like 3 boys and then Fable, and Fable's his favorite child, and that's genuinely like I feel that way. He loves it so much. It is the first thing he thinks about and the last thing he thinks about, and all day long
I understand
he's
that.
just telling me about it all day long. And then on the opposite side, everything is so much more emotional with it because it is his kid, right? So it's like every little thing is like, this is ridiculous, or like, like
But also, like, we've reached this level, though, that the stakes are so high. Because, like, before, when, coming from somebody growing a business and you're dealing with, like, outside perspective, like, when you fail, but nobody knows about you yet, it's really kind of like just you and a couple people. But, like, when you fail and you've had, 500,000 customers and then you fail, the pressure is so much harder.
Yep.
So, like, it's just not even an option for me. So that's why I'm so, like,
this must be.
Yeah, but that's
it's
also
just
why
the
we
way
need people
that
that
it's going to
care.
be.
One small mistake can trickle down to be thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. One small
like
mistake.
that one time we hired Joey.
one wrong mixing of a product, or we don't. There's no
because the batches are so big, much bigger too. Like if we use the wrong fragrance in a batch, it's like, oh great, there's 1,200 customers that are upset now.
Yeah, and that's $5 of shipping, $5 of shipping, $5
It's a $30,000 mistake
or more. I mean, so everything
that's been very insightful as well.
Yeah, no, you just don't think about it, like, and it adds up so quick. Or like everything is just expensive. Like every little thing is just expensive.
We don't have bills that are less than 10 grand ever.
Every single thing is like, oh, 10 grand. So you're like, this is great. And then you have obviously like other people's income on the line, and so everything matters so deeply. But also we're so small that like other people are like, yeah, that's funny, that's cute. We used to be there like a long time ago, but like we're still so small. But like we want to make those decisions that help us get so much further. So the people that are vested, not the ones who just work there, but the people that are vested will get big payouts also. Like they're
we're in it for the long haul.
You're gonna be able to
it's
see
kind of wild.
Can't get rid of me now.
Like we're in this, like, I feel like every stage of Fable is like a new stage of growth, right? And it's kind of like when you're running a business, it's never really a moment of satisfaction of where you are either. You're always still focused on the future. So like, while yes, what the princess says is true, we are still a small company. But then I was talking with my kids. We were driving to dinner or like the other day, and I was just curious, and I look it up, and I was like, we do double the sales volume of this fast food restaurant that we're in right now for yearly sales. And it's so like, on one hand we are because like we don't have 3,000 locations doing that, right? But like on another hand, I'm like, we've accomplished a lot.
Oh my gosh, even since we started.
We were just talking about this the other day. Like it was yesterday, I think, how we went from, actually I was talking about it today too, is the fact that we went from 2 units. When I started there was 2 units, and then we got 105.
105.
Rip. And then
the lunchroom.
I'm gonna go get some coffee and a PB&J.
I'll be back. I'm going to
I'll be back
105.
going to 105. And then we moved into this new building, and now we have a second building the same size of it right next door.
It's been absolutely insane. And when we all got in there,
we've only been in this building for 3 months.
It's unbelievable to me.
12,000 square feet.
See, that's one of those reckless decisions. But here's the thing.
But it's paid off so much.
Well, what we recognize is like, especially when Joey told me that the previous tenants were there for 14 years.
Yep.
I was like, this has got to be meant for us. That's how I felt.
No, 100%.
I felt like I was
I
like,
just got chills.
why would it? Why would it have? Who else could it be for? And so I think instead of trying to be logical in that sense, because that's where one of those moments of like the logic kind of had to go out the window.
Yep.
And we had to just be like, why not us? Why not us? Why can't we do bigger things? Why,
Yep.
You know, like, why not? And then thinking about,
And we will.
and we will,
Oh, yeah.
and thinking
we are.
about how people care, and like I said, it's not everyone, but you can tell the ones that do, and they want to succeed, and it directly. What's really funny about it is like, it so much directly impacts their life. It's just funny to me when people don't care more, I guess would be the right word, but and I think, I think everyone in our team for the most part does, but you just can see other like small businesses, and they'll tell you these stories, and you're like, it's so interesting because like this is like that person pays you, like don't you want to make them like? But,
It's so different than working somewhere else where you like don't know your CEO and you don't know the people above
Yeah.
you. I think which
Yeah.
makes it such a special experience too. Is
Right.
that we're all like friends
And
and,
then,
all
yeah.
know
Well,
each
it's not
other.
work
And you want
either.
to, like-
I don't like oh, I have to go to work. I'm like, it's
Great.
Yeah.
It's
Go
the best
out
time.
with
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gonna hang out with my friends.
and that's why we do
They're
wanna,
genuinely everyone there
Yeah.
is like they're all my best friends.
yeah, and that's why we do want
But
to
that's
share.
why it gets so frustrating, and I'm sure for you, for management too, because
You have
like
no
you're more
idea.
daily involved.
Like, why
When
are you
people
being
do go
stupid?
through periods of like being a tit, you're like, what is wrong with you? Like, do you not see what this rarity is that we've got going down?
Like
It's true.
Max will be coming up and like showing me TikToks, and I'm like standing there. And I'm like, yes, this is very funny. Do you want to pour deodorant now?
Right, like, okay.
And he's just like, but oh yeah. I'm like,
He's like,
okay.
I have one more.
Yeah, I know.
have one more, though.
Three
No.
more later. I have
know.
one more.
It's hard, and I think
He's gonna be so mad.
no, but it's
Love
so
you,
but
Max.
it's so true. I mean, like he's like notorious for doing it also. So it's not like we recognize it also that you have to kind of be prepared for that. But we definitely we do, like I said, we do care. And we want that environment to stay good, because that's why we do get to do fun things like this, because we want everyone in the team involved, and we do want to share. Like you said, sometimes you have to be selective with what's necessary for others to know, just not to overwhelm them.
Yep.
But
Yep.
we want to be as transparent as possible, because I think it just helps people, understand the big picture thinking.
Oh,
And
yeah.
That's what it
it's
is.
funny when we first started. Everybody starts, regardless of what business you're doing, in like the smallest version of that business, and like when you're branching out to competition and whatever, and like doing all of your little research that you can, trying to figure out what equipment somebody's using, or like how they make their stuff, or like whatever you're just like really into it. I lost where I was going with that.
Oh, he's
Oh,
the
that's-
ADHD
oh, it's gone.
kicked in.
It's
It's gonna come back. It'll come back to him.
Sometimes you have some, you just let it, let
it's
it
gone.
fly.
It was probably a really great
Yeah,
idea.
it
Though.
was.
It was so cool.
He's gonna interrupt
It was
someone.
one of the 12 that were
It
in
was
your brain.
great.
He's
right?
gonna interrupt someone momentarily
I will.
to
Be like,
finish his
"Wait,
thought.
I remember."
Yeah, I remembered what it. No, but you do. You get very excited. I mean, the first like order that ever came through was like it was the most exciting thing in the entire world. Like it
Yep.
was like someone
Like,
actually.
somebody
wanted
I got it back.
it. Yeah, there it goes.
So when you're in that small business mindset, you're always like, maybe I shouldn't share things. And like, as I've gotten where we are now, we share everything. And
But you have to share selectively and
I
not ramble.
guess.
You have to be concise about what you're sharing.
nobody's going to do anything anyways. That's the thing. So I tell people this all the time. I'm like, look, Joey, I'm telling you, this is 100% from the higher powers of the world. If you jump up and down 300 times in the next 15 minutes, you're going to have $1 million. And I could show you the $1 million. They're not going to do it. People are just lazy. They just don't do things. So it doesn't matter what information that they have. They
You
just
said
won't
jump up
do
and
it.
down for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Outside right now.
Yeah, right now. Let's go.
No, but I mean, to his point, yeah, I think there's a balance. There's a balance with what you want to do, what you want to share, and what
There's people that you will have that are good employees, but they don't have passion, and you cannot teach passion to people. You just
cannot.
can't. You really can't.
You cannot.
And you can tell when somebody has genuine passion, and when somebody is just there working, which is fine. Also, you know what I
Right.
mean.
Boo.
Right, as long as
but
you're doing
you
your
can
job,
tell.
yeah.
you can tell when somebody has a passion for something because it shows through their work, and it shows.
Yes.
differently.
And just, I think that, like, you hear stories, and I don't know, I've never worked in, I've always tend to work in small businesses, and then I've been, even before Fable, I was self-employed anyway. So I've always only had myself to really like stand on
Reference,
as far as what it's like. But when you hear stories about people that have been like at a company for like 20, 30 years, and they get like an email or like a thank you card in the
Here's
mail.
a $15 Target card.
Yeah, and we
Jelly of
look
the
at
month
ourselves
club.
and we're like, gosh, it's got to be the best thing ever to work
it's
at Fable.
cra-
Like,
you know, I think about it. We're just like, it's Thursday. What do you guys want for food?
Yeah, like
You know,
we'll
and
try
we're
to do
what?
lunches or like fun things, or like we always think about everyone. In
Celebrate
the building of,
everyone's
like,
birthdays.
Yeah, like what can
Yep.
we do to make you all, because we want to know, like you to know that we're glad you're there. Like we're glad you're part of the team. And especially like when you have the people who are vested and they're sharing ideas. Like I think sharing ideas, whether they obviously on scale, we can't have everyone's ideas, right? Like we have to be selective, and a lot of times we don't get our own ideas. Like we have to go with what other people tell us we want, But the fact that they're sharing is so big to me, because like that means you're caring.
They care.
Sharing
They're
is
at home
caring.
thinking about it. Yeah.
And it's so important to me. So
it's
like I will
just-
never stifle ideas.
I
And some of them will
On one hand, I'm like, Joey, leave me alone. But then on the
No.
other hand, she's like, but
he's
he cares.
such a lot.
But he loves it.
I'm like, yeah, but
Thank
he's
you,
up my
Megan.
ass and won't leave me alone.
Thank you, Megan.
No, I listen. I listen always. Now, I will also say no a lot, but I listen always.
Fair enough.
But you have to send an email.
So I'm like, that's a
Put it in
princess
an email.
question.
Emails.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hate
because
emails.
I'm the I'm
That's
the-
my favorite is when you call Colin for anything and it's like,
What?
that's a princess question.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going, all right. Bye. Thanks.
because he's gonna get in trouble if he gives you the
I
wrong
get it.
information. He's gonna
I
get
understand.
reprimanded, and he doesn't like getting reprimanded.
I
so.
don't.
And
I
again, that's on marriage.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many people do work with their spouse. I think it's really cool. I really love it, and
I love it too.
I love it.
I can see though it wouldn't
It's
be
easy.
for everybody, but
It's-
at the same time, I'm also like, I just really like,
It's-
I like my husband, so
Yeah.
I want to hang out.
I think being best friends before
Yes.
helps.
Well, you also kind of
lot.
have to wonder, like, on a large scale, like, who doesn't marry their best friend? Like,
I
it's so
think
weird.
a lot of
I
people.
think you'd be surprised.
I think a lot of people get married because they feel like it's the thing they have to do.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah,
Totally.
It's like
Real
don't get
talk
married if
there.
you're not
yeah.
absolutely in love with that person, want to be around them.
But
every
really,
waking
also
moment.
also being best friends, like just
Yeah, but
being best friends.
a lot of people don't experience that.
That's true. It's true.
We're very lucky.
I know.
All of us.
I know.
Yes, I will say, when I met him, I was like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I believe. This is what I like. And I was like, just so you know, like, if that doesn't feel right for you, that's fine. I don't care.
But-
It's great. Like, I want you to be happy. I want you to go live your life. Because I didn't care if I like had a guy. There was none of that mattered to me. And he was like, okay, great. I'm gonna follow you off a cliff now.
Yeah, that's pretty much my ADD. I was like, that sounds like my life's gonna work out all right.
That's
Okay,
great.
me and you now.
It's you and me
And I
forever.
was just fair. I just wanted to make sure I was like
I'm
clear. Like I
yours.
don't like
I'm
I
imprinted.
will tell you one thing that drives me absolutely crazy with anything is when I feel like my time has been wasted. I don't like, if I'm going to waste my time, I want to waste it in my own special way.
Yes.
I want to do my own special time wasting thing. I do not want people wasting my time. And so in general,
Very
I have
valid.
no desire to like date. I don't want to go out on dates. I didn't even care if because I was just living my own life, happy as can be. And so if anyone was trying to like solicit my affections, I was like, let me just tell
Meh.
you, this is like just point blank. And
Here's the
while
criteria.
I'm not in the dating world, don't take my
Go with
dating
that.
advice for anything. For those of you who
It
are
was
not,
funny when we were first like starting our relationship. Like I'm pretty sure for like a solid 6 months, she just thought I was just like some dude that wouldn't leave her alone, and I was totally fully already in a
He
was
committed
like,
we're
"We're
relationship.
committed.
I was like, what do you mean? We're already married.
What are you
do you
yeah.
mean?
But for those, I will
We have kids
say
already.
for anyone who's in the dating world,
These are your children.
I fully think you should just on first date be like, this is how many kids I want. This is what I believe. This is my views on life. This is what I want income wise.
Yeah, but
I think
most-
you should just lay it out.
But a lot of people are just in it for the bag now.
But I'm just saying, I don't even know what that means. But I'm just saying, you just,
Money.
you just leave it out. You just leave it on the table, and you're like, hey, this is how it is. And then that way,
How much
know
do you
where
make?
stand.
Yeah, well,
I think you should. I think you should.
$1
ask.
million.
What's your goal? Although I will tell you, he's an embellisher, so he also did embellish a lot of his things that he
Like what?
Like
Manhood.
he had one college credit And he told me he was almost done with nursing school.
I did. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm almost done with nursing school. I was in English 101. But that was just my brain. I was like, this is what I am.
He
What do you
already
mean?
like
I'm
he
already
already
done with
completed
nursing
college
school.
in his brain.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That
Went
is
to
so
college
funny.
for like 6 months.
Yeah.
I know. I know. And then I just, like I said, I was just,
I had class 1 day a week at like 1.
yeah, it was pretty hilarious.
You're like, I'm almost done.
That's a long week.
For him, it was like in his brain, it's so funny because he still does stuff like that. And what I always tell him, like, he's not making it up. That's legitimate in his mind. Like, it's legitimate. Like, he's telling
I am
you the
almost
truth.
done.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I am 100% a professional juggler.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, he
I believe
can
it.
juggle 2 things at once, but that's it. That's it. But no, he is, and then he'll normally do, like, when he says something like that, it's normally because he is going to whatever he
It's
said.
what
Like, it's
you've
gonna
already like
happen.
known
Yeah,
in your mind
determined.
will happen, so it
Yeah.
already did.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so
Nailed it.
we are
Yep.
Crystal and Joey are. We have one other married couple in our ethos of the Fableverse.
Who?
Ocker and Bert.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
He's like, who got married?
man.
I didn't know about it.
I forgot about
Yeah.
those
They've
two.
been
They
married
only
a while,
are
too.
our creative
Yeah,
team.
they've been married a while. Now
Yeah.
we're not like they don't just work with Fable, they work with other people, but primarily we're a big
They're
part of
ours.
their,
Who?
we're a big part of their world. But we do.
God.
It's funny because we're like, oh, what other love connections can we make? Can we bring more couples
Yes.
in here? Because I'm like, who else would want to ever leave? Are you ever gonna go leave where you get to like go together again? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where else are you gonna be like, oh, we're gonna go find
It's
other
funny,
employment?
you're-
The next
We're
Fable
gonna go together.
endeavor,
You're-
Fable
Yeah.
matchmaking.
Yeah.
Your brother-in-law and your
Oh
brother.
yeah, Daniel.
My sister.
Yeah, Daniel. He works for us too, the Warlock.
Oh yes, he does.
My
and,
sister.
And you know, I remember meeting his
You would never know
his
they were related.
girlfriend at your guys' wedding.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she was telling me all this stuff about like how she was in school and how she was like doing all this like crazy stuff with like chemistry
yes,
or whatever. And in the back of my mind, I'm listening to her, but my ADD at the same time was like, "Oh, that's cool. When are you going to quit that and come work for Fable?"
So when are you leaving? When are you moving?
Yeah, when are you just like going to stop that?
So
that's
are you
cool.
gonna move now?
So anyway,
he judges. I will
Anyways,
tell
your
you.
dreams, those are crap. You should
Go-
just work
Yeah,
for
yeah,
us.
that's
Going
stupid,
back
yeah.
to me having to tell the wizard no, he tries to hire a lot of people. I'm like, we don't need any more people. He's done it for. He tried to
See,
hire.
I'll pass by like hungry. We'll work for. I'm like, you want to just come? You want a job?
Want to label some beard oils?
Yeah,
I'll give you a job.
he tried to solicit Oscar
For 2 years. Oscar used to be a server for
Yep.
us.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, when are you going to come work for us? She's like, you got to stop trying to hire him.
I'm
And
like,
then
stop
one day
trying to hire
he
him.
disappeared.
He doesn't
like,
want to
okay.
work for Fable. Okay, he doesn't. He's made it known he doesn't want to work for Fable.
See, he knew in his head
I
that
did.
in 2 years
I was like,
Oscar
yeah.
would work for
He-
Fable.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was almost like he was like determined.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was like determined.
I mean,
but
that's how
actually, what's
he was
really
determined
funny
with you, too.
is when we finally talked to Oscar about coming on to work for Fable. He actually at that point in time was like, no, and I was like, no, let's give him a shot.
Let's
And
do
so it was just really funny because before we met with him and even talked to him about like what he was gonna do, someone else had already inquired and he was gonna move forward with that person. And I was like, actually, I really
Stupid.
want someone local. And I was like, let's just talk to Oscar and see what he can do. And then obviously we've been very, very glad that they're there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
and he's,
100%.
I'm surprised you guys got back to my email because I sent my email.
Oh,
my
no,
resume.
that was going in the trash.
No,
yeah,
that is
no.
not true. It got sent to my email.
I know, and that's because I sent it to the one on the Facebook on the website, and it was just a customer service one.
Yeah,
She
that's
must have
'cause
forwarded it
yeah,
to me.
she probably forwarded it to you, and then I made sure to include a picture of myself behind my drums with the sword.
It was so
and a beard.
funny because she sent it to me and she's like, look, this
He's hired.
person,
Yeah.
this person wants to work for us. And I said, his ass would be holding a sword. That is
Yeah.
a Fable
It
customer
was.
all the way.
I will also say, I think there's a picture of a truck in there too. The truck in there, I think. I want to
Oh,
say that there was
gosh.
you standing in front of the truck, maybe.
It was.
Another one.
Oh my gosh.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, maybe I saw that later. But either
Probably
way,
later.
I do remember the truck being part of that conversation.
Yeah. No, because
Somewhere.
I
And then we like stalked Crystal after he's like, yeah, she wants to work here. And I'm like on Instagram, like, how did he get her?
No, it's
you're asking the wrong person. I
yeah,
don't know.
no, I think we also were like unsure of if we should hire because I'm always like my biggest fear is hiring someone that we don't really need and then not being able to like keep them on and
Yeah.
like it's a legitimate fear of
That would
mine and
suck.
so I was like I want to make sure we can like pay this person.
Sustain this,
if we,
yeah.
like, yeah, if we hire him on, I want him to be here for the long haul, and especially because like you being familiar with the brand, like we do care, like we genuinely do care, and so I think, and then I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And he was like, let's do it. And that was like it. And I was like, okay, well, I guess you should call him and make sure he's not like,
Psycho.
a serial killer or something. And he was like, okay. And the rest is history.
I don't even remember the phone. I called
Neither
you.
do I. I don't remember.
Yes,
that.
I had scheduled a phone interview and I made you call.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of remember.
I
Never
made you call.
happened. In my brain, it's gone. I was like, okay.
I remember my phone interview with you
Yeah.
guys too.
Well, and that was also another that was another really nerve wracking for me too, because we had a someone who's moving on and we didn't know if they were going to be moving on or not. And I was like, do we bring on someone else in
Well,
preparation
not
for
only
this or
that,
not?
it was the other dynamic of you two being in a relationship.
Yep,
that
I remember.
Most of the time, a lot of businesses try to stay away from because it creates a lot of problems, creates a lot of drama, and things like that. So, like, we had to make sure
You
we
did.
took I guess in reality, we took a big risk.
You asked me in my interview, you were like, okay,
I was
but
like, are you
are you
sure?
okay that you're going to be working with your husband now, or your boyfriend at the time?
Yeah, it didn't bother me. It was just more of like,
That was your husband.
it was just more of like, are you good with this? Because I feel like because we understand that dynamic, but not everyone does understand that dynamic. And so
Yep.
it was and I think you kind of figure it out as you go. So moral of the story is, if you love your spouse, you can work for Fable too. If because the wizard will probably try to hire you.
The Fable dating app coming soon. Coming soon.
Only fables.
Yeah.
That's a different app.
Yeah.
Only beards.
Only beards.
Only beards.
Finder.
Yeah.
Stupid. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
Well, that's what it's like when you work for Fable and you get to work with your loved
Fable
one.
mingle.
It's really great. And this will not be the last time you all see Crystal and Joey. They're going to be on a lot.
Fablesonly.com.
They will be back.
Do you guys remember that one? Farmers Only?
Oh, yeah.
Miles,
Fables Only.
Back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
And the commercials.
The commercials for Farmers
They were like
Only.
doing hoedowns and stuff.
Yeah.
I just want you to know,
Farmers
if you've
only.
not
Me
done
and
line
Potter
dancing, I
square
think line
dance.
dancing is so fun.
I also think line dancing is so
Yeah,
fun, believe it
so
or
there you
not.
go.
No.
I'll go to a hoedown any day of the week.
No.
The wizard doesn't dance at all.
No,
I'm
you
on
just
my
say
own.
no.
That's going to go viral probably.
Means that I'll go to a hoedown.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah,
Your
yeah.
dancing on TikTok Live
Fable Hoedown.
the other night was really
I know.
superior.
It was very.
It was.
It was pretty spectacular.
He wouldn't sing on a little teapot though.
Because it was like, you're not moving enough on your live. And so Colin was like,
It did
okay,
that to
fine, I'll
me
start
this
moving. So he's
morning.
like,
So mad.
I was mad
walking
this
on the
morning. I was
treadmill.
yelling. I was on the treadmill, and it's like, we detect no movement. I'm like, I'm literally
I'm
on a treadmill.
treadmill.
What are you talking about, TikTok?
oh, what do you mean?
It
Is
probably
what?
like froze.
I don't know.
in
At
their
that point, it's
system.
when it becomes dick talk.
Ah.
Good one.
Oh. Okay. Well, this has been a lot of fun.
It
has
and,
been a
lot of
and
fun.
Crystal and Joey, they will be back to share more stories and
There's so many stories.
more stories. This is just the introduction of what it's like to work with
Yeah,
your
on the
spouse,
next
but-
on the next episode, maybe we should hear like without naming things, stupid things that you have to deal with at work.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You say nothing.
Oh my gosh. There's so many things.
I know.
There's so many things. But then like some of the stupid things turn into some really like fun things like May May.
Oh,
Can we-
yeah.
Wait, there's one of
Maybe.
those too.
I will. Yes.
The bad is, well, yes, May May. And then Max will go, he'll be like, I'm taking my 15. And he'll be sitting at his desk. And I walk over and he's got these big goggles on. and all you hear is like that and hit the thing. It's like, it's the little drones. And it'll just speed past your head. You're like, holy crap. What is that
Max
thing?
got a drone stuck
No.
in my hair
Yes.
the other day. And I had to pull a chunk of my hair out
like,
because it got stuck
I'll
in my
Venmo
You don't
hair.
have enough hair to go around. You can't let him take your hair.
No, I know. He's like, I'm so sorry. Can I pay you? I was like, what does that mean? Yes. He
I'll
did it to
I'll
Mia,
Venmo
too. He
you,
got it stuck in
Crystal.
her hair, too. And I was like, we're not flying that thing near my head anymore. It's not going to
That's
happen.
wild.
Yeah, working
Oh,
in
yeah.
the lab.
He got it in Lionel's bowl
Oh,
of
yeah.
water.
Dropped his drone in my dog's water bowl, or our dog's water bowl, I should say.
He's our dog.
He's our dog. He's our baby. Oh, yeah.
He's
Lionel
actually
hangs
my
out there.
dog more. 'cause he
Yeah.
loves me more.
I think people would find it very entertaining, and they probably, if our insurance people heard about it, they'd probably be like, "We're canceling your policy.
You're kicked out. You're evicted.
Yeah, you're not. No longer do you get Fable." But no,
fun.
I think it sounds really fun. So I think we should do it, and
Let's do
we've
it.
had a great time hanging out, and can't wait to do it again.
I can't wait to
Same.
do this more. This is so much fun.
Wizard, do you have any final remarks?
By Fable.
Fablebeardco.com and the
Right.
link down below.
Where you
FableBeauty.com.
two can make sure that everyone here
Look at
gets to
that.
eat dinner on a daily basis.
No more PB&J
Should we smell it?
Thursdays.
Should we do the
Yeah.
smell?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Do the thing now?
Fable ASMR.
I think I'm gonna do a
Fable
clip
SMR.
where it's gonna start with Joey with the mic here, And then it's going to be Joey with the mic here, and then Joey with the mic here, and then Joey with the mic here. Kind of like on Scary, what was it, Scary Movie, where the Park Ranger's hat just kept getting bigger.
Yes.
Every
Make an
time I
edit of
looked
where
at
the
Joey, his
microphone
mic
is.
was further away from his face.
I'm really excited for people to watch this because they can really just see the ADD in action,
Yes.
like in the field. You know what I mean?
In the field.
In the field. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just like, oh, yeah, he has ADD. Like, they can watch him like, okay,
Okay, yeah.
Dude's
Nope.
a freaking
Legit.
spaz.
Yeah. It's your superpower. It's what makes you special
It is.
In
It
more
is
ways than
superpower.
one.
in more ways than one.